I was saying it's too bad we don't have a few minutes to just sit a little bit more, to breathe and let us sink into the film. But it's okay. Well, we're very happy you're here. Maybe we can start and speak a little bit about the performances in the film, which I think are really remarkable, and maybe working with actors. You've worked with Maren Eggert before, who plays Astrid, and she's really great, but maybe you could speak a little bit about casting and the actual act of directing and working with your actors.
Yeah, it's true. It's the fourth film I do with Maren, and the first one was Marseille, which was the main role, which was in 2004. And yes, in general, I can say at the beginning, I always think both is possible, professional and non-professional actors, and when I'm searching, I feel that both, and think and look for both. And so in this case, it's very obvious that all the children they didn't play before, and also some of the adults, but they are also professional actors like Maren or like Al Williams. But the way I'm working with them is quite the same. There's not so much difference. From the very beginning when I meet them, and when it's a casting, or also when I already know that I asked Maren to play that role, and also Ellen, I give them the text, part of the text, to hear what happens if they say it without talking before or explanations or anything. And then, yeah, in the casting, I see with whom this works, who let himself go with the text and not as afraid or wants to have answers for questions which help him to say a word or a sentence. So it's more or less that I ask them to do something and not to interpret or to feel something, or
To trust the intuition that you build into.
Yes, that's, yeah.
Other questions from the audience for our filmmaker? Yes, please. Questions about the extent to which the film can be decoded in a very precise.
What I can say is that the film is written as you see it. There was never a more complete narrative, and then I decided in any phase, like during writing, to throw things out, or during editing to put things away. What I know is what you see, and also the Reihenfolge, the way how scenes follow after each other, is written like that, with very, very less exceptions. So what does that mean? I don't know. It's true that when I heard that idea of giving it the name of a puzzle, I was a bit surprised, but I don't know. For me, I see a film as a viewer, and when I see a film, the important thing is what I feel when I see it. And because I'm going in cinema to be with myself and not to be led by a director who has a special or really determined wish what he wants to tell me. So I make a film also like that, to I have nothing more to say than that. So
Well, I guess we should wrap things up. Are there other questions from the audience? Yes, please.
It's a script in the way that there is written what we're gonna shoot, and also, I mean, the dialogue. I mean, part of the dialogue is from Shakespeare, and the other dialogue is also written, and the long scene in the middle is completely written. So it's a script, but with this word intuitively, I wanted to say that there is no concept that I know in the beginning how this thing will go on. I write the first scene, and then I write a second, and then I write a third. In the very beginning, I write kind of a story, but this is only to find out, to get a bit closer. But then with the script, I start again, and then I change all those things.
You write chronologically?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Other questions? Yes, please.
No.
Questions about the person editing, if it changed?
No. I edit alone, which I did with my very first films, with the first few films I did. And then I worked with an editor, next films, and since The Dream Path, I work again alone. And I think test screenings, I mean, if I would do a test screening, then probably I would get different reactions. So whom then do I believe more? So I think when the film is shot, then it needs time to appear. And how I shot, it's not possible to do everything with the material. You can shoot in a very different way, that you have much more material than I have, and then it's a different process than to say, okay, how this. Then I mention, okay, I can do very different things with it, but in this case, it's not possible, because it's already thought in the beginning, and then shot in the way as it then will be.
There's another question here, further back. Questions about the prologue and epilogue of the animals.
When I mean the film begins, except this prologue with the boy who comes back. And when I wrote the scene, which was really the beginning of the film and the first scene, and I was sure that I wanted to begin with the boy who comes back. So writing that, it was clear that I will not tell where he was. But then I had the wish to see something else. Not to begin with him and to begin a step before, but to see something else. So and there was I had the thought, why don't I see animals? Because how he comes back, and I imagined him very dirty, so it's clear he was in nature. So who is in nature? Animals. So maybe I can show animals. And then I wrote the scene because I imagined animals like a family, like they are like a family. So an animal family living in a house, eating something. And the end wasn't planned like that. In the script, the end, this is one of the very less changements I did through the editing. The film the script ends with the family in the nature, but then during the shooting we had this donkey, and then I said, let's do the donkey. And then I really like donkeys. That's probably all. And then when he was looking in the camera, I called my daughter and I said, look at that, do you think this is possible? And she said yes. So
One of the great performances I was speaking about. There's another question in the back. Yes. It's about diegetic sound in the film, and then the inclusion of one song.
yes, as I work with music, it's first of all, music is something so complicated in terms of what music changes. It's impossible to flew. If you hear music, then you are in it. You cannot close your ears. Your emotion goes in the way the person who puts the music wants. So this is a very, very strong Mitte?
Means.
Yes, to use in a film. So normally I'm very careful with music, and I don't use music often. So in that case, there was a dancing scene, and it was clear that there will be music. And I imagined from the very beginning that we will not hear the music they heard in the moment that they dance, because I wanted to have a kind of, to have it just not synchronized, to feel that there is something strange, that there is a second level. So when I edited it, it was mute, and then I tried different music, and it was kind of limited because the rhythm should work in a way with it. And then, there were a few options, and then I thought this is the best. That's all.
Other questions from the audience? I saw one.
What moment you're talking about? Okay, in the school.
Your question's about
To throw
Phillip returning
him
to school.
to throw him out from school. I see. You mean when she's coming in the teacher's room? No, they don't explain. It's true, but I think it's yeah. He was away. It's not allowed to not to go to school for a 13-year-old boy for 1 week without exclusion. So for me, it was obvious that the teachers have to react somehow, and then I thought they are not able to react. They try, but they are tired. But the mother she's afraid, and she also has the feeling that there is no reaction, that they shall let him, but she's afraid that they will not, so she's coming.
Time for a couple more questions, if there are any. Yes, please. Questions about the dialogue scene in the middle between Astrid and the professor, and about the ideas of acting that they speak about.
If I would think what she says, I could not work. Because if I would not believe that an actor can express something, then I could not shoot a scene like that. So it's my opinion, and it's not my opinion. And it's as complicated as it is, because when I wrote it, yes, I imagined what would I say after seeing that film or seeing the part of the film she described. And it was clear for me that the important thing is her state, that she's not able to stop herself. This is the important thing for me, that all these people you see, they have a problem with conversation. So she has the problem that she's too loud, too fast, and cannot stop herself even if she wants. And another one is not able to speak without a machine, and the children speak only with Shakespeare's words. And so there are different handicaps they have. And for me, the handicap in that scene, or the two handicaps, because his native language is not German, and the problems which came up through these handicaps are in a way as interesting as what she says. But for sure I'm interested in what she says. But everything has two sides. And I would never, if I would be asked, I'm also teaching for as she in an art school. So you can say this is very autobiographic. But if I would imagine to talk to my students, I would never do a speech like that. Maybe I would think it in a moment when I would see a film. And she also is not in front of a group of students or whatever. She is together with someone who listens to her. And the way he listens makes her talk. And this is interesting for me, that everything, every moment, and also this long scene is interaction. He's helping her, he's looking at her, and she talks to him, and suddenly she has the feeling maybe he understands me. So she doesn't stop, and she hurts him also. And then she says, "Excuse me." And this mechanism of dialogue, of conversation, I was interested in.
Time for one more brief question, if there is one. Yes, please. What's the name of the donkey?
I forgot. Because he had not such a beautiful name. It was a Hungarian donkey. He came with an Hungarian trainer. And it was something like Charlie or Benny. I mean, it was something like, no, it was something more profane, which didn't fit for me for that donkey. But now I'm surprised that I forgot it, because, but I forgot. But he had a name.
Another unsolved mystery of the film. I'm afraid that's all the time we have, but please join me in thanking Angela Schanelec, and thank you all for coming out.
Thank you.